she lies, but she's a lowlife. And she's a very low IQ person and a lowlife. And I don't imagine the Democrats are going to have a person like that running their party. If they do, they'll never win an election again. It would be very hard. But I can't imagine she's going to last long.
And what do you think of Governor Gavin Newsom's? Sorry.
To be smart, you do need a brain. You can't get around with little quips. And I've watched her. I've only heard of her for the last couple of days, and I watched her make a speech, and she can't speak. And she truly is a low-level person on the very important chart of intelligence.
Yeah.
And really, it's nice to have intelligent people running your operation.
Is the lie the mothership of lies? It's the lie on which all the other lies about him rely. Without this lie that he's this self-made billionaire, genius, real estate savant, without that, the whole house of cards crumbles. But you know that it's a facade. It's a show. It's not real.
Yeah, it's always been a show, but it's his origin story, right? Mm-hmm. It's the cares about the most. I saw what you said. He does poop. I don't know if we can curse on here. You know what I mean? I saw him do it on the Apprentice set. That was all in a right when they started filming The Apprentice. I worked on the Celebrity Apprentice, just so your viewers know. I dealt with talent in live. And that was sort of my little niche in the industry. If you weren't famous, I wasn't showing up, So I didn't work on the part that was just Joe Schmo, Illinois, who wants to work for Trump. But my buddies did. They were the crew. And when they showed up with Mark Burnett to begin filming, they went into the Trump offices, and the furniture and stuff was so threadbare that they were like, nobody's going to believe this guy's a billionaire. So they had to go out and rent furniture. And when we did Celebrity Apprentice, because Trump didn't have a paycheck. He had blown his father's inheritance at that point. Mm-hmm. Strong-armed his siblings into signing it over to him, and they sold his dad's company for $786 million or something ridiculous that then Trump blew in short order. If they had just held on to that, the equities and the dividends off of the empire that his dad built off of his own malfeasance, and that's another story. Yeah. But if it just this acumen to not sell the most valuable asset that he had just been bequeathed, he would have been set for life. He sold it, was essentially broke when NBC gave him the gig through Mark Burnett, who, by the way, tried to sell that show in first. He wanted to do it about the Mir space station with oligarchs, and they put him on to Trump. They're like, no, you should do a real estate show with our guy Trump.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's how it went down. There's a great deep dive in the New Yorker your viewers can read by Patrick. I can't think of his last name, but do Patrick New Yorker Trump and you'll find it on the Google. But anyway, so, NBC big break again. That's why he brought in his kids. His kids, if you're a billionaire's kid, you should be like sailing catamarans, off an end. You should be like a Formula One. You should be doing dressage, horseback riding.
Right.
Luke is my next neighbor. His daughter has a big horse farm and rides horses because her dad's a billionaire. She's not on a game show on Sunday night on NBC, standing next to her dad, judging whether Little John or Meatloaf has a better pop-up shop in the square, right? But right, real billionaires' kids don't do that,
Great point.
Give me $1 million, I'm not even doing a podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to enjoy my life, but it's all about the image, right? Image is what he was selling from the 80s. His buildings were crap. His casinos were crap. They had the worst food in Atlantic City, the worst payouts on their slot machines. He would bus in women from Ohio and Kentucky and all these elderly citizens. He was one of the guys who innovated. People don't remember that, but he would send all these buses out to like rural Pennsylvania, and he'd give them a free ride to Atlantic City, put their slot machines, their Social Security checks into his slot machines, and he'd send them home without so much as a free lunch. That's the man he was. And when he'd walk through the casino floor, this was before my time, Louis C.K. told me this, he would have the security next to him to make sure nobody talked to him. Because, these people would be like, hey, it's Donald Trump from the TV, let me go outside. And he'd be like, get away from me. the other thing. He despises the people who supports him. He wants to be a left wing. He had Bill Hillary at his wedding to Melania. Like, he cares. He wants to be loved by the left, and by the left, I mean like Hollywood elites and anyone you know. He would love for Madonna to invite him over for dinner or something.
Oh, that reminds me of this whole, like you said, this whole like image that he was crafting. And there was a Madonna story back when he was calling, page sixes and stuff and pretending to be his own publicist. It was John Barron and David Dennison, and I forget the other one. Yeah, so he had all these fake PR people.
His Valtrex, he would call in his Valtrex under a fake name too. So we would call him Captain Valtrex. Yeah, and he would make it up. Yeah.
Yes, we had a Madonna story that he called, whoever it was that was writing this, that he wanted to pitch this like salacious story to, about how he basically had to put off Madonna. She wanted to date him, and he had to say, oh, no, women were throwing myself. And he barely disguised his voice at all. Everyone knew who they were talking to. I mean, he's such an idiot and so lacking in self-awareness that if he changes his voice just one little octave, he's like, no one will ever know it's me. Or, all the same patterns are there. So he's like, and Madonna, it was a real problem because she just, really wanted to date me, and I couldn't date her. I would think I was seeing somebody at the time, or right, bullshit. But he wanted to put that story out there because it was a whole, crafted reality, and it was not true in any way, shape, or form. But Mark Burnett, really, that was it. Like, once he picked up the thread on this fallacy, we can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Oh, hey there, it's Stephanie Miller. If you're like me and you love sharp political insight, pointy, you like it pointy and sharp, bold opinions, and a touch of humor to make sense of these crazy times, have I got some fantastic news for you. The Political Voices Network is now on Substack. This is your new go-to for the best in independent media. We're talking about my show streaming daily with episodes on demand, the fearless of journalism of Brian Karem, the brilliant side-splitting satire of John Fugelsang, the unrelenting working class advocacy of Rick Smith, and so much more. Here's the best part. Subscribing is so easy. You can join for free or go to the extra mile. Support these incredible independent voices by signing up for a full subscription starting at just $8. You'll get access to exclusive content, behind-the-scenes insights, and a chance to directly fuel fearless, unfiltered media. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to politicalvoicesnetwork.com. Hit that subscribe button and become part of the movement keeping truth alive in an era of corporate media overload. Every subscription helps, especially yours. One more time, that is politicalvoicesnetwork.com. Sign up now. Do it.